guys, it's Peachy the Speechy here, and today I'm going to be talking about how I got into graduate school. So a little introduction about myself. I got my bachelor's in the major Communication Sciences and Disorders, and I graduated from CSU Sacramento. And now I am waiting to attend my graduate program in the fall of 2019, and I will be done with my master's in 2021. And so that's really exciting. But today I'm going to talk about how I got into graduate school. So I started off my undergraduate years volunteering super early. I started extremely early. I started about in 2017 before I got into my undergraduate program, and I started volunteering with my local church. And volunteering with the church is a good way to start if you don't know how to get involved, because it's very hard to get organizations to pay attention to you as just a single person. And so I think it's a lot more helpful to really involve yourself in a church, a bigger organization, so that you can really volunteer. And that's how I got started. My church works with a lot of local organizations such as the homeless shelter, a lot of programs in our community, and it really helps to show your engagement in the community that you are in, to show that you care about the community. It's really good to be involved with a vast variety of individuals. And so that's definitely what I would recommend. But you don't necessarily have to volunteer with organizations that have to do exactly with the major and coincide with the major. You can actually involve yourself with organizations that are kind of outside the field, and that's something that's unique and will stand out in your application. So in my CSAN major, I know that a lot of people are more worrisome about GPA and GRE scores. So I graduated with my bachelor's and I received a GPA of 3.85. When I started at a 3.5 GPA. So don't be discouraged if you have a 3.5 GPA. You still have time. The next semester, I got it up to a 3.75 GPA, and I was really worried because it was coming to a time where I had to apply to graduate school. And so I went to go talk to a faculty member, and she said that I still had the opportunity to, raise my grade up before sending in my transcripts for the application, and that a 3.8 GPA is a highly competitive GPA, and that's something that can bump you up into getting into graduate school. And so I worked really hard, and I ended my senior year first semester with a 3.83 GPA. So I maintained a 3.8 GPA my senior year. And when I sent in my transcripts, it showed that I had a 3.8 GPA. I would say a competitive GPA would have to be a 3.8 or above. And I know that's super high, but having a lower GPA doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get into a program. There are a lot of factors that actually contribute to getting into a graduate program. And I think a main factor that helped me get into graduate school was my resume and also my personal statement, because I really spent majority of my time on my resume, volunteering, and also on my personal statement. Those are the two things that really advocated for me as an individual and for me getting into graduate school. And so I honestly did not get the best GRE score, and yeah, it wasn't actually good at all. I got a 287. I took the GRE 3 times, so I would recommend saving a lot of money so that you can retake it if you need to. But I took it the first time, and my verbal was a 145, and then my quantitative one was 138, and so it was super low, and I took it 3 times. My last time that I took it, I scored a 4.0 on my essay, which is really good, and some of the schools really look at your writing scores. Work on really focusing on the writing portion is really important for graduate school, because they want to see that you can write an essay. And so focusing on that and studying on that is actually really important. Yeah, so I ended with a GRE score of 287 cumulative, which is really low. I know that a lot of schools look at a 300 and above, but just because you have a low GRE score doesn't mean that you won't get in. I honestly felt defeated that my GRE score was so low, but I still applied, and I got interviews for 3 schools, and I got into 2 of them. So that's a big deal. And I'm in the California region, so it's really competitive here. This just goes to show that your application is based on a lot of factors and not just your GRE score or your GPA. Coming to my professors when I needed help, or when I felt like I was struggling, or when I just needed a friend, that's something that I really advocate for all the undergraduate students to do, because you feel kind of alone when you're in this major and you feel like it's all or nothing, and maybe you have a low GRE score or a low GPA score that makes you feel defeated. But really getting involved and talking to your professors, talking to the faculty members, asking them what you can do to be better and how they think you should go from here on out is something that really helped me as an undergraduate student in communication sciences and disorders succeed. Is the fact that I had these people, these mentors, mentor me through the program. They really advocated for me, and that also helped me gain a good relationship with them. And so that allowed for them to get to know me and write me really good letter of recommendations. So I definitely recommend keeping in touch with your professors, going into office hours, even when you don't have any questions related to speech language pathology. I think it's really important to just go in there and talk to them about your personal life and just how you're doing, and your concerns and just all that stuff. I think that's so important for this major, and it's not advocated enough, but I think that it's more than just getting to know them for a letter of recommendation, but it's for that mentorship to get you through the undergraduate program. Another thing that I didn't do in my undergraduate, but I wish I would have done, actually get involved in doing research. There were a lot of good research opportunities out there that I really wanted to be involved in, but I was just doing so much at the time that I didn't really have time for this. And so research, I think, is something so important that we all need to learn as speech pathology majors, because it's how we advocate for our patients. It's how we advocate for our field. It's something that's so important that will look great on your resume, and graduate schools will look at that and be really impressed, because that's something that is done usually in graduate school. So getting started early is very important. I think that will just bump up your application and make you stand out. That is it for my Peachy the Speechy talk. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer it again in either my podcast or my YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm sure I missed a lot of important information, but I'm going to be making a lot more podcasts to answer a lot more questions that speech pathology majors may have. And so I hope this podcast really helped you out, and until next time, bye.